Hey, welcome to the Snap. We're talking about Rondale Moore today, me and my co-host Landon. And if you've never heard about Rondale Moore, we've got just the piece for you. Rondale Moore was an unbelievable breakout candidate at just 18 years of age, 2,200 all-purpose yards, and 12 touchdowns as a true freshman for the Purdue Boilermakers. We're talking about a pretty special player today, but what you see from his college production doesn't tell this whole story. So I'm going to kick it over to my man Lando. What are you thinking about Rondale Moore?
The ceiling for Rondale Moore is one of the highest in this class. He could be considered in the same tier as Ja'Marr Chase. So this is high praise for a guy that we really haven't seen complete a full season since 2018. But let me get down to some of his accolades. And all this is 2018. Consensus All-American, first team All-Big Ten, Big Ten Freshman of the Year, Richter Howard Receiver of the Year. This guy got it all in his freshman year and really lit the college wide receiver scene on fire.
And what's funny about that first team All-American designation, he's the first ever true freshman to be a consensus first team All-American pick. Really, really crazy. Like, this guy came out and dominated the Big Ten, which is something that we haven't seen anybody do as an 18-year-old to the extent that Rondale Moore did. Not Devontae Smith, not Ja'Marr Chase. I mean, Devontae Smith broke out arguably in his junior year and had a Heisman-level senior year. Ja'Marr Chase had a fantastic season as a junior. No one came out and dominated college football like Rondale Moore did as a true freshman. And this guy just kind of gets it done all over the field. He's also a physical freak. You know, he's 5'9", 180. This guy runs a 4.3, squats 600 pounds. He is physical. He is strong. He is versatile. I really, really like Rondale Moore's game. But 2019 and 2020, as we jump into the box score for Rondale Moore, tells a little bit of a different tale. Yes, he was tremendously impactful in 2018, but what happened? Why has he only played 7 games in the last 2 years? Why, Landon?
It was a hamstring injury, and it was a really, really bad hamstring injury. Experts are surprised he didn't actually tear his ACL, but it's his physique and how strong his legs are, which kind of let those AC joints kind of stay intact. But it really wasn't. He didn't play the rest of the 2019 season, and in 2020 he re-aggravated that same hamstring. So the risk level is fairly high with a guy like Rondale Moore. But like I said earlier, his ceiling is ridiculous. Getting that 11 yards per reception, 29% target share in his freshman season, 12 touchdowns, and his special teams yards is what I like to see as well. Over 700 special teams yards. Get this guy the ball, and he will make something special happen. And Mac, you said he's got, well, I mean, if you watch his highlights, he's got a lot of rushing ability. A team that's going to draft Rondale Moore will use him in every facet of the game. Jet sweeps, handoffs, everything. Get this guy the ball, and he does something special.
Yeah, not pictured on the screen here is in his breakout freshman season, 210 rushing yards as well. So you factor in his return prowess, 744 yards in the return game, 210 yards in the running game, and then another 1,250 yards through the air. Rondale Moore was everywhere for the Boilermakers as a true freshman, and some of those things like the return game is going to be a thing that maybe gets him on the field early as an NFL rookie. So a very versatile player that can burn you in a lot of places. Going to more of an advanced analytics perspective, 36.7% college dominator, 72nd percentile, target share 29%, 81st percentile, breakout age of 18.2, 99th percentile, and that's the piece that intrigues so many people about Rondale Moore. His college yards per reception, 9.4, which is first percentile, not good. But when you look at 91% of his snaps coming from the slot, you understand why. He's used as a more shorter to intermediate route kind of guy, but he's someone who can really create for himself and be special when the ball is in his hands. So we're going to jump into the film room and tell you some things that we liked about Rondale Moore and other things that we are concerned about going to the next level. So I'll kick it back to you, Lando.
The pros are limitless when you watch them on film. Purdue got him the ball all over the field. He took the ball in the backfield, like I mentioned. He was taking a lot of screens every time he got the ball, it's like he explodes out of a cannon. And he not only will he beat someone to the edge, he will run them over as soon as he gets that. His yards after contact must have been phenomenal. There was a couple instances where you have to think for sure he is down and gotten to the ground, but he stayed on his feet and got the touchdown. He is that insane. He's that low center of gravity, almost like a running back, where and he keeps his legs moving. He's going to make people miss with his speed, but also run them over with his power. This guy is strong. And in fantasy football, if you like this guy, you really like him.
It's funny you mentioned yards after contact in 2018, which is what we're going to go back to again. He led the NCAA in broken tackles for a wide receiver at 27. So this guy, really tough to take to the turf. When you get the ball in his hands in space, he's very, very dynamic. He sheds tackles. He's not afraid to lower his shoulder and get through defenders. Like we said, at 5'9", 180 with a 600-pound squat and 4.3 speed, this guy is super, super dangerous. But there are some cons, and what are the cons for a guy like Rondale Moore? Well, he's going to be limited to slot receptions, and that's just the nature of his size and his skill set. He has smaller hands for a wide receiver and has been noted to have trouble securing the football at times. Not much of a big catch radius guy, not much of a hand catcher. Really does like to secure the ball with his body from the tape that I have watched on him, but get the ball in his hands, and great things happen with Rondale Moore. So you take the good with the bad. Did you notice any other cons, Lando?
I mean, besides the injury history that we touched on, assuming health, that's pretty much it. He's just not a big guy. He's only 5'9". He's got to be a bit of a mold breaker, a bit of a guy that kind of goes against the grain. He's never going to be that prototypical number one, but wherever he gets drafted, I know that NFL team is going to get him touches. He's not going to be left out on an island and go up against the number one corner. He's going to be shifty and moving everywhere. He's just going to be used all over the field is what I'm projecting.
Yeah, absolutely. And this guy has, he has the top end speed. He has the quick bursty acceleration. Like, for so many reasons why people are enamored with Kadarius Toney, which I still don't understand. I mean, we're talking about a senior wide receiver that really didn't even have a command of his own wide receiving core. I don't understand why people are taking Kadarius Toney over Rondale Moore. Maybe it's the injury history or concerns, but I have no concerns with Rondale Moore. I'm willing to take him in the back of the first round where his current ADP is at the 112 and take a shot on this guy because, like Landon said at the beginning of the video, the ceiling is limitless for a guy like Rondale Moore. And I think leaving your drafts, he's just a guy that you have to have on your team for the what if. But jumping into the last piece of this video, player comparison, who's somebody that we think he comps to? Landon and I having this conversation off camera, like we do every video, who did you comp him to? And we both said Steve Smith. So why does he play like Steve Smith for you, Landon?
Steve Smith is just a dog. This guy is a bulldog. He kind of broke molds for his era in the NFL, and I could see that. I mean, they're similar size and weight. It's a very easy comparison. And Steve Smith is a Hall of Famer, and to compare Rondale Moore to a Hall of Famer is high praise. But I do believe he has that opportunity. He's kind of a thicker. He's kind of a faster Steve Smith. So he could be better than Steve Smith if he reaches his potential and stays healthy. That's kind of the praise I'm willing to give to Rondale Moore, but it's hard to really compare to a guy this size in the NFL because a lot of guys are at least over that 6 foot mark.
Yeah, like you said, he kind of revolutionized the position, the size, a guy like that, and he's got that tenacious quality. He wants to win. He's a true competitor, and I see a lot of those characteristics in Rondale Moore's game like it did Steve Smith's game. He plays much larger than his size and really is a raw, dog. Like, he'll fight for every single inch. I keep thinking back in my mind that play against Ohio State where he looked dead to rights on the sideline, shed 3 tackles, put his shoulder down, pushed 2 DBs back, and all of a sudden he breaks off to the other side of the field for a 30-yard touchdown. And that's just time and time again with Rondale Moore. So I think he is potentially Steve Smith and better athletically. Not to say he'll have the same career, but athletically, I think more gifted than Steve Smith was. So
I saw some highlights on Twitter the other day of Darren Sproles. I think that's an apt comparison as well. Darren Sproles was a small guy, very fast,
right.
Kind of proved people wrong. He wasn't drafted overly high, but he proved people wrong. But I could see that as well.
And Darren Sproles is another guy that profiles like very good athletically from a metric standpoint. So I've heard other people say, respected people in the Twitter space, that he's kind of like a running back when he gets the ball in his hands. Just a short, compact, bursty, and strong player that is tough to take to the ground.
No doubt. Like Rondale Moore might be our running back 2, and Kyle Pitts would be our wide receiver 2 kind of thing.
The final verdict. Where does Rondale Moore rank for us in our wide receiver class? What you've already seen from our videos, Jamar Chase is my 1. You know that Rashad Bateman is my 2. You know that Jalen Waddle is my 3. And Rondale Moore is my 4 ahead of Devontae Smith. And just to clear this up real quick, I think that taking Devontae Smith at the 104 or 15 in 1QB rookie drafts right now, that's typically where he's going. I think the risk on Devontae Smith at 104, 105 is not worth the potential, difference that Rondale Moore gives you at the back of the first round, 111, 112. So I like Rondale Moore as a prospect just as much as Devontae Smith, but that ADP gap for me is where I give Moore the nod.
Yeah, I've got Rondale Moore ranked as my number 4 wide receiver. But again, like I mentioned, if you want Rondale Moore, I do not blame you if you want to jump up and get him at 2. Like as the second wide receiver off the board. He's a guy that if you want on your team, I do believe you should just draft him. I'm not gonna knock you for wanting to reach for a guy like Rondale Moore because of the ceiling that he has in fantasy football. This is what we want. We want a dynamic playmaker, and Rondale Moore is every bit of that.
You bump him up just a little bit, Lando?
I bumped him up 1 spot over Terrace Marshall, yeah.
That's my boy. If you guys like this video and you want to see more of our content, please consider liking and subscribing. These rookie profiles come out every single Monday. We're going to get as many as we can going up to the NFL draft. So we appreciate your eyes. Let us know what you liked in the comments, who you might want to see next, and we'll see you in the next rookie profile video.